Okay guys, this is version 1. I hope you're paying attention. Sorry guys, I'm tired. We need to solve for variable x, so I have to get rid of the number that's on the same side as the x, which is the negative 10. So the opposite of subtracting is to add. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides. Negative 10 plus 10 cancel out. Bring down your x. Bring down your equal sign. And negative 3 plus 10 is negative 13 plus 10 is negative 3. Because since they have different signs, negative and a positive, you have to subtract them. So 13 minus 10 is 3, and your answer stays negative because 13 is bigger. That's the reason why I wrote a negative. Number 2, I want to solve for p, so I have to get rid of the number that's on the same side as the equal sign as p, which is negative 1. So the opposite of subtracting is to add. So 5 plus 1 is 6, and the negative 1 plus 1 cancel out to 0. This is the same as writing p equals 6. Question 3 is 16 divided by 7 equals b divided by 7. Well, the number divided by 7 is what's underneath the b. I want to get b by itself. So in this case, the opposite of dividing by 7 is to multiply both sides by 7. So 7 divided by 7 here cancel out, so I get b. And you should notice that these 7s also cancel out, so I should just get the 16. Because 7 divided by 7 is just 1, so the 16 stays the same, which is the same as me writing b equals 16. Question number 4 is similar to that of question 3. In question number 4, you have 3 equals r divided by 19. What's the opposite of dividing by 19? Well, the opposite of dividing by 19 is to multiply by 19. Why am I multiplying by 19? Because I want to get the r by himself. So 19 divided by 19 cancel out, and I get the r by himself. And 19 times 3 is 27. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So r is going to equal 57. So I wrote it like this. Number 5, we can combine like terms. So these are like terms because both of these numbers have an n, and because they're on the same side of the equal sign. So here's the equal sign, they're on the same side. So I'm going to combine them by adding up or subtracting their coefficients. Since this guy is positive 6 and this guy is negative 5, 6 minus 5 is just 1. So I'm going to be left with 1n, or just n. I don't need to write the 1 because it's positive. So now I bring down the 1, and here's my solution. If you would have written it as 1n, then you could have divided by 1, but 1 divided by 1 still gives you 1. Number 6, I can combine like terms on the left side of my equal sign. So on the left side, you're going to notice that this 4 is positive. He has a v. This guy, this negative 4, is not like terms with this positive 4 because he doesn't have a v. But this guy does have a v. So these two are like terms. Well, in front of this v, you have an invisible 1. So when I combine negative 1v with positive 4v, it's like saying 4 minus 1, which will give me 3. Because 4 minus 1 is 3, so 3v. And this is positive because 4 is bigger and 4 is positive. Bring down the negative 4. Bring down your equal sign. Bring down the negative 1. So now I have to get v by himself. Who's on the same side as the equal sign as v? Well, the negative 4. So I need to get rid of him by doing the opposite of subtraction, which is to add. So negative 4 plus 4 cancel out, and I'm left with positive 3v equals positive 3. Because negative 1 plus 4 means the same as 4 minus 1. They have different signs, so I have to subtract them, and I keep the sign of the bigger number, which is 4, so positive. Last, I have a number in front of my v, so the opposite of multiplying by 3 is to divide by 3 to both sides. This is how I get v equals 1. Number 7. I can't combine like terms on the left side because these don't both have an x. So I'm going to write him down here. I can't do anything with him yet. But on the right side, you're going to notice that you can use distributive property. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply. So 4 times 4x is equal to 16x, because 4 times 4 is 16. Rewrite the x. Then 4 again times 1 positive is positive 4. So now I'm here. I have x's on both sides of my equal sign, so I need to move the smallest one. So the one that I have to move is the negative x, because he's smaller than the positive 16x. So the opposite of subtracting by x is to add by x. Well, in front of the x, we have an invisible 1. So 16 plus 1 will give us that 17x. Now I'm going to bring down what's left. So I have the 4, the equal sign, and the plus 4. So these two canceled out because they're opposite of each other. So they cancel each other out. Now I have to subtract 4 to both sides of the equation, because that's the 4 that's next to the x guy. So this is a guy I want by himself, but he's on the same side, so that's why I'm getting rid of him by subtracting 4 to the other side. And here you're going to notice that 4 minus 4 is 0, and you're left with just 17x. The opposite of multiplying by 17 is to divide by 17, and we know that 0 divided by 17 is just 0, because if you don't have any money or anything and you divide it by 17 people, you're not going to be able to divide anything with them, so it's just 0. Question number 8. I have to use distributive property. So negative 3 times x is equal to negative 3x. And then I have negative 3 again times positive 2, which will give me negative 6, because a negative times a positive is a negative. Rewrite the rest of your problem. Now this looks similar to question 7, where I had to move my x terms. So the smallest x is negative 3x or negative 7x? Well, it's negative 7x, because negative 7 is farther away than 0. So the farther the negative is away from 0, the smaller it is. So the opposite of subtracting by 7x is to add 7x. So negative 3x plus 7x will give us a positive 4x. I have to subtract because the 3 is negative and the 7 is positive. So you have to subtract because they're different signs, and that'll give you a 4. Keep the sign of the biggest number. The biggest number is 7, so it's positive. Minus 6, so I just bring him down, equals negative 34, because the negative 7 plus 7x cancel out. Now I have to get rid of the minus 6 because he's on the same side as the equal sign same sign as the x. So on the same side as the x term is the one I need to get rid of, which is negative 6. So the opposite is to add by 6, and when I add by 6, I'm going to get 4x equals negative 28. I subtracted 34 with 6 and got 28, but it's going to stay negative because 34 is a bigger number. I have more negatives. That's why I wrote negative 28. Now, to solve for x, I have to get rid of the 4 because he's in front of the x. So the opposite of multiplying by 4 is to divide by 4. And we know that a negative divided by a positive is a negative, and 28 divided by 4 is negative 7. Question 9, we're required to use distributive property. So negative 2 times r is negative 2r. Then negative 2 again times negative 4 is equal to positive 8, because a negative times a negative is a positive. 5 times 3r is equal to 15r. And 5 times negative 2 is equal to negative 10. Bring down the plus 1. On the right hand side, we have like terms. These guys don't have a variable r, so I need to combine them. So on the left, I rewrite what I have, and on the right, I rewrite 15r, but negative 10 plus 1 is negative 9. They're different signs, so I have to subtract, and because the 10 is bigger, I keep the negative sign. That's why this stays negative. I have to move the smaller r, which is the negative 2r, to the other side of the equal sign. So the opposite is to add by 2r, So when I add by 2r, I get 8 equals 17r minus 9. The negative 2r plus 2r cancel out. Now the term that is on the same side as the r is a negative 9, same side of the equal sign. So I have to do the opposite of subtraction, which is to add. So 8 plus 9 is 17, and this is going to equal 17r. The negative 9 plus 9 cancel out. I'm going to write the 17 and the 17r on the right. The opposite of multiplying by 17 is to divide by 17. So 17 divided by 17 is equal to 1. So r is equal to 1. And the last question, number 10, you can combine like terms because on this side of the equal sign you have a k here and a k here. So these are like terms. They both have the same variable. So negative 4 plus 6 is actually positive 2. Rewrite the k. Then on the right side, you're going to notice that you can use distributive property. What's negative 8 times k? Well, that's negative 8k. Then you have negative 8 times negative 2. Negative 8 times negative 2 is positive 16. Then I have distributive property again here, where I'm going to multiply 8 and 4k, which gives me 32k. And last, I have 8 again times negative 2. And 8 times negative 2 is negative 16. Now I have a lot of sets of like terms. On the right-hand side of the equal sign, you're going to notice that you have negative 8k and 32k on the same side of the equal sign. These are like terms, so I'm going to combine them. So negative 8k plus 32k is going to give me 24k. I had to subtract their 32 with the 8 because they have different signs, and that's how I got the 24. Rewrite the k. It's positive because 32 is positive and he's bigger than the negative 8, so it stays positive. But now I still have to deal with the 16 and the minus 16. These guys are also like terms because they both don't have a variable, positive and negative 16. Well, what's 16 minus 16? That's 0. They cancel each other out. So now I'm left with these two things. I need to move the k's to be on the same side of the equal sign. So the smallest k is 2k. The opposite is to subtract by 2k. Well, 2k minus 2k cancel out to 0. I don't have anything left on the left side because 2 minus 2 is 0. No more k's. 24k minus 2k, though, is 22k. To solve for k, I need to get rid of the 22. The opposite of multiplying by 22 is to divide by 22. So when I divide both sides by 22, 0 divided by 22 is 0. So my answer is just k equals 0.